Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Concussion Discussions series brought to you by Integrated Brain Centers. I am your host, Amy Zellmer from Faces of TBI. And today I'm going to be chatting with Dr. Amy Moore from the Learning RX. So today we're going to be talking about brain training for improving cognitive function after brain injury. So I'm so thrilled to have you here, Dr. Moore.
I'm excited to be here, Amy. Thanks for asking me.
Well, this is such a fun topic. I guess I don't know if fun's the right word, but I think it's fun. But the whole cognitive function after brain injury, for so many of us, it's impaired, whether that's memory or processing. Like I know for me, somebody could be telling me something and like my input was slow. And so they'd be on like paragraph 3 and I'm still on like paragraph 1. And I'd be like, wait, what did you say? Like it was so challenging. And, we get written off as just, oh, you got to pay attention or try harder. Or, you get so many excuses thrown at you from people who don't understand. So really excited to jump into this topic with you.
Yeah, so I actually had a client who had 5 concussions, and that was his primary difficulty. He described it as being at the dinner table in a conversation with his family. And by the time he could think of something to contribute, the conversation had already moved on to another topic.
Mm-hmm.
And so super frustrating and very common. We see that a lot with brain injury survivors, that they really struggle with their ability to process information quickly and effectively.
Yeah. And I remember going to the neuropsychologist and explaining to her how I just couldn't focus. Like I had super short-term memory problems, like that working memory, plus not being able to process it fast enough. And she wanted to put me on Ritalin and antidepressants. And I was like, I don't understand how this is going to fix anything. And I eventually found my way to a Learning RX and did, it's almost the same type of test as the neuropsych exam, except shorter.
Mm-hmm.
And my results were identical, but the way that you guys interpreted it to me was so much more logical than the neuropsychologist telling me that I was just depressed and that was affecting my memory. I'm like, but this has been a problem since day one. I wasn't depressed the day I fell, so maybe tell us a little bit about the testing that you do to determine where people are at in their recovery.
Absolutely. So when a client comes to us, we do a comprehensive assessment that looks at multiple cognitive skills. And those are skills that we use in thinking and learning all day, every day. We look at core cognitive skills like long-term memory, working memory, processing speed, visual processing, auditory processing, and reasoning skills and attention. And so what we do is we just basically take a snapshot of the level of functioning that each client is at prior to even suggesting what sort of brain training program they might need. And we do find that those results align with traditional neuropsych tests. In fact, we use gold standard tests. So we use the Woodcock-Johnson battery of tests. We use the Kaufman tests, and we use the Gibson tests as well. And then we measure that at baseline. And then clients who choose to go through a brain training program, when they're finished, we measure it again so that we can see how each of those cognitive skills changed or improved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And having that actual data to be able to show, look how much you've improved. That's pretty cool because sometimes it doesn't feel like you're making progress to the individual, even though the family is like, wow, they're making such progress. But sometimes to you, it doesn't feel like it. So to be able to see that data that shows, no, you're making progress. I think that itself can be so encouraging.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So once somebody has gone through the testing, what is brain training? What does the program look like?
So Brain training is generally repetitive engagement in mental tasks with the goal of driving neuroplasticity or the brain's ability to change with experience. And so we have about 100 different training procedures that we can use. And each of those training procedures has 10 to 12 variations. So when you do the math, that's over 1,000 ways that we have that we can target and remediate those cognitive skills that we just talked about.
Wow.
And so what it looks like is, a cognitive trainer sits across the table from a client or across the video screen like you and I are doing. We use a variety of hands-on manipulatives, as well as workboards and metronome timer. And we drill down on those weak areas. So they're game-like, but very intense. Mm-hmm. And so we find almost your point of failure and push you right past that. And those are rapid-paced 90-minute training sessions, 3 or 4 days a week. Almost every training task is paced by a metronome. And what that does is it increases the intensity of each task. It keeps you from taking a mental break. We like to call it creating a mental sweat. But then it's the intensity that helps drive that neuroplasticity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's such a key in any of the models, whether it's your guys' brain training or like a functional neurology intensive. It's all about just really driving home that neuroplasticity and that change in your brain. Where, some people get put into a PT program where they go once a week, for an hour. And like, that's just not enough repetitiveness to drive that change. I mean, it still will cause change over time. It just will take longer to get
Absolutely. There. Right. And so we know that in order to drive change, the brain needs to produce a protein called BDNF, brain-derived neurotropic factor. And so the only way, it's like fertilizer for the brain, like Miracle-Gro. And the only way to make that happen is through intensity. And that intensity comes from frequency and duration and that repetitive practice.
And so what do you have to say to somebody watching who is like, I won't be able to do that. Like, I have brain fog. I'm tired. I can barely get out of bed. Like, because that's the obstacle I hear a lot is I can't do an intensive. Like it just is too much. I'll get tired. Well, that's sort of the point, is to make you get tired, right? Like,
right. Yes. So that's one of the reasons why we believe that human delivery of this program is so important. If you're given a computer program to remediate your skills, it's super easy to say, nope, I'm not opening that laptop.
I'm done and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. When you're frustrated, when you're tired, you're just going to close the lid to that laptop and walk away. But it's like working out with a personal fitness trainer in the gym. That fitness trainer is not going to let you stop. They're going to say, one more rep, you can do it. Yep. And so it's the same idea. It's a personal brain trainer, personal cognitive trainer, who can not only adapt the program to your level of current functioning, they can assess whether you're getting frustrated or not, pull back just a little bit, let you experience some success in that task, and then push you forward again. So they can adjust on the fly like that. But research shows us that immediate, detailed, targeted feedback is what makes a program, any intervention, more effective. And so that trainer can give you a huge dopamine release by giving you a high five and giving you that encouragement and helping develop that self-efficacy, that feeling that, hey, I can do this. They can model it. Hey, this is what it's supposed to look like. They create an opportunity for you to have a mastery experience every single time. But again, they can help manage that physiological response to frustration as well. And all of those are ways that we develop self-efficacy.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't do that with a computer. I haven't met a computer that can do that yet.
Yep. Yeah.
And the other thing is that when you have a personal brain trainer, that's going to increase your compliance to this intervention, right? Because that trainer knows how to deliver the program the way it's supposed to be delivered with fidelity. And they're going to make sure that you're there, that you're in that seat and getting it done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of anxiety going into any sort of an intensive program. Like, I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. And the fact of the matter is, you're going to be able to do it. Like, our brains and our bodies are pretty amazing. And I know, during my intensive, it was definitely like, you're tired at the end, and I would go home and take a nap, and I was able to drive myself, but you might want to have someone that can take you if you feel like it is going to be too much and you're not going to be able to drive home, or but yeah, the intensive model, I feel, is so critical with neuroplasticity.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And we're certainly sensitive to individual needs. And so, I had a client who was overstimulated pretty easily and needed to take breaks. And so in the beginning, we let her take some breaks. Is that how we operate typically? No, but we understood. We let her experience some success, take a break, come back, experience some more success, take a break, and within a couple of weeks, she was able to push through, right? Mm-hmm. When she realized, hey, I really can do this.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about the metronome and how that does play such a critical role in what you guys do.
Right. So the metronome can be very frustrating at first.
I hated that thing.
It's a novel experience, right? Brand new. And we train, I'm going to digress just a little and then come back to the metronome, but we train in an open environment. So we have training stations in a large open space. And so there are multiple trainers and clients working at the same time. And so those metronomes are often on different beats. So, someone over here is working at 120 beats a minute, and you've got someone over here working at 80 beats a minute, and they're ticking, randomly like that. And that can be very difficult to focus just on your metronome, because the way we use it is we pace the responses. So you're responding on beat or every other beat to the metronome while doing your task. So we know that neurologically, there's no such thing as multitasking, but there is something called rapid task switching, where we can have you doing two things at once. And that increases the intensity. But the metronome keeps you focused on what you're doing. It does not allow you to take a mental break, because the next beat I have to answer, the next beat I have to answer, the next beat I have to answer. Well, the reason that we train you in an open environment like that is because that's what life looks like.
Yep.
We are immersed in so much stimuli all day, every day, that if we train you in a quiet room, how does that help you? How does that help you tune out the irrelevant or the external stimuli and focus on the task? And so we force that focus by letting all those other metronomes tick, and you're hearing other people responding, and not everyone's even doing the same training task, right? They're all working on different things at once.
Yeah.
It's really a beautiful dance when you see it.
And I know, some people listening right now are probably getting anxiety just from even thinking about all the overstimulation and going, I'm not going to be able to do that. But you will.
Absolutely.
And it sucks at first. It's hard. But think about if you blew out your knee and had knee surgery, and then you had to go through PT rehab for your knee. It sucks and it's hard in the beginning, but you have to get through it to get your knee better. And our brain is the same way.
Absolutely.
And I think we often lose sight of that, like, analogy.
Yes. And so The way we introduce training tasks, they're sequenced in order of difficulty and complexity. So we're not going to start you at the highest level of difficulty. So we're going to build you up to that level. And we want you to experience success all the way up. And so the idea is not to trick you. The idea is not for you to experience failure. The idea is for you to work past your weaknesses until you can experience success while being coached, right? While being coached and encouraged the entire way. I mean, that's the benefit of having, a personal trainer with you, is to give you that encouragement, to be able to say, you can do this. One more, you can do this.
I know for me, I had gone through my functional neurology intensive, and I was feeling like physically I was a lot better. I wasn't having the dizziness and the vision problems, but my lingering symptom was overstimulation. If I was like in a restaurant or a busy mall and just all that chatter, like my energy would just go vroom. And I finally did some cognitive rehab I'll never forget, she played an app on a phone that was like little kids talking to each other. Um, and it was annoying. And she had that playing, and I like had to sort cards into their suits while answering like a math problem or something. And it was so dang hard. And like I said, I'd already gone through my funk neuro, so all the other stuff was working well. But I tell you what, after a couple days, it was easy. And I wouldn't say easy, but it got easier.
Right.
And now that overstim doesn't even phase me much anymore.
We had a client who had suffered a traumatic brain injury in a sledding accident, and she had lost her ability to drive because there was so much stimuli happening in the car that it overwhelmed her, and she just couldn't do it. It was creating anxiety and panic attacks, and so she just stopped driving. And by the end of her 24-week training program, she was driving herself to the sessions, because she was, finally able to focus on the relevant stimuli that is required during driving and tune out the rest.
And how long typically are your programs? I know they're all individualized based on
Right. So a minimum of 12 weeks. And like I said, it's 90-minute sessions, 3 or 4 days a week, for a minimum of 12 weeks. And it's really going to depend on where you are functionally, at baseline testing. That determines the recommendation that we make. For many people, it will take upwards of 24 weeks to really see the results that you need to see. But it's going to be based on your deficits and how fast you progress.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's a pretty cool program. And, some of the stuff, I can't think of the name of that one where like you've got the colors and you have to say the name of the color, not the color of the ink that's printed in. Yep. Like I just remember those were like so hard.
They are. So that activity is based on the very famous Stroop task.
Stroop, that's it.
Right. And you actually have to suppress your initial response to say, the color of the word instead of the actual word. And we mix it up. We'll rotate you through. This word, I want you to say the color, and then next I want you to say the word, and then the color, and then the word, and then the color, and then the word. And oh, by the way, you're going to do a math problem while you're working on it.
Yep.
Respond on beat to the metronome at the same time.
Yeah. It's crazy, but yeah, it gets a lot easier as you go. And, I don't want people to get in their own way, right? Like, oh, I'm not going to be able to do that. Like, just don't get in your own way. Just check it out and give it a try.
Yeah. We will make it so that you will experience success.
Absolutely.
It's hard work, but it's also a lot of fun. And we know from research that the number one predictor of therapeutic success is the relationship with the therapist, right? So in this case, that would be your cognitive trainer. And so we want you to succeed. And so that that trainer is going to build a relationship with you. They're going to know your deficits, but they're also going to know your wants and your needs and your goals, because you'll spend time talking to your trainer about what your goals are. And that trainer will revisit that goals with you every single session. They'll be able to say, hey, I know that you're interested in getting better at playing baseball, right? You just mastered this visual processing task. How might that help you on the baseball diamond? And so what it helps you do is transfer the benefits, from the training environment to your real life. That trainer will know you inside and out, and will help you set and realize those goals. It's a very beautiful relationship.
So anyone watching that wants to get in touch with you, we do have all your info below the video. But to just recap, your website is learningrx.com. Mm-hmm. And they can find you on Instagram and Facebook, Learning RX Brain Training. And if they do want to get in touch and learn more, how can they reach out to you?
So we have centers all over the country. And actually, we also have centers all over the world called BrainRx in other countries. And so you can go to learningrx.com and click on Find a Center, type in your zip code, and it'll show you where the closest one is to you. If there isn't one close to you, we offer training via Zoom, just like this. And research is showing us that the results from doing it via Zoom are just as effective as being in person at a center. So this program is available anywhere, and you can call 1-866-BRAIN-01 and talk to the LearningRx corporate office, and they will get you set up with a consultation, with an initial assessment to see where you are, and then they would go from there to show you what your training options would be.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here today, Dr. Moore. It's always a pleasure to chat with you. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any videos in this series. Like this video and head to Amazon to purchase Concussion Discussions.